on my YouTube channel on my laptop. But good morning. I had to stall a moment because Mikey's got a bit of a cold, so he was out like blowing his nose and stuff, and there's all kinds of fun noises. So I was like, let me just hold off for 1 second. And now I'm trying to pull it up. There it is. Okay. I was like, why can't I find this? Okay. All right, I'm loading up the chat now. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. All right, let me take a sip of coffee while we're getting everything going. Okay, here we are. Looking good. It is one of those months. It just is. The whole foot thing, the broken foot, which is why I was gonna slide back here to sit where I normally do, where you get, I mean, it's not the greatest background, but it's better than my vacuum over here. But it just didn't work out today with the boot on and the crutches, and it's difficulty moving. I was like, okay, we're just gonna sit here today. It's fine. It's fine. And I woke up late. I'm not gonna lie. I did wake up late. I've been sleeping in a lot lately, and I think it's just like my body's like, yo, we're trying to heal a broken bone. Like, you need a little extra sleep right now. Something's kind of throwing me off, and it's that plus allergies. So it's been a fun time all around. No, everything is going fine otherwise. How do I get back to my stream? Sorry, technical difficulties. Give me 1 second. Okay, YouTube, I know you really want me to take this survey, but that's just not gonna happen right now. There it is. Okay. Okay, I'm back. It's loading. Excuse me. Okay. It's loading. Good morning. Good morning, Boo. Good morning, Kara. It's great to have you guys here. We'll probably get a few more people in a few moments. What was it? I was going to say something before I officially got rolling. I don't remember what. Oh, I don't know if you heard Mikey. That was a big sneeze. Well, actually, before I officially get rolling on the topic, because today I do have a topic I wanted to discuss. How's everybody's Sunday going so far? I know some of you have been probably awake a lot longer than me, kind of depending on your time zone, but how's everybody's Sunday going? Let me know. I just feel a little shook, like getting these started. Hi, Sri. I hope I'm saying that right. Casually Otaku. I think I'm saying that right as well. Good morning. If I ever mispronounce your guys' names, please let me know. I always try to do my best with that. All right, it's 8:04. Let's go ahead and get started. Good morning, good morning. Oh, there's like new people in the chat. This is exciting. There's always more people. Sri Krishnan, like, let me know. Let me know if that's right. Or type it up phonetically for me so I can get it a little better next time. Okay, so today I do have a topic. Oh, awesome. Good. Okay, I just saw that it was correct. Okay, just making sure. So today I do have a bit of a topic. At the end of it, we'll still do our usual Q&A. It doesn't have to be related to the topic. It can just be any kind of general questions, or it can be related to the topic. It's totally up to you guys, but I just kind of had something I felt like I wanted to discuss, and it was like a stream of consciousness kind of thing that I was just like typing it up as I was kind of processing my feelings. So I didn't want to use it as like its own weekly video or anything. So I've been up for about 3 hours. Molly gets me up. Cats will do that. Well, pets will do that in general. Ooh, 17. She's a little old lady. Oh, it's like a mix of when pets wake you up in the morning, especially on a Sunday, it's like a mix of like, you're really sweet, but that's also annoying. I want to sleep. Well, it's like, because I'm like, are you waking up because you miss me and you want my attention or because you want breakfast? Like, at least that's how it is with my dog. I'm always like, Lena, do you want, because sometimes she's just like, I miss you, Mom. I love you. Like, that's how she acts towards me. But I'm like, yeah, you just wanted breakfast. I'm on to you. um, oh, good. Okay. Okay. Um, oh, wait, no, that was Kara's message. I was thinking that was Boo again. Set my alarm. Sunny in Seattle. That's always a nice change of pace, I'm sure. I actually have a friend who might be moving to Seattle, so I'll have an excuse to travel there. We'll see. She's deciding on LA, Seattle, or Portland. So anyway. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead and jump into this topic. Also, for today, I think we'll probably, again, I always like to feel at the time, but I don't have any time restraints today. I'm kind of doing like a Zoom hangout with my sister later, but I just told her, like, I don't know, sometime in the day. So there's no time restraints, but I do like for now kind of keeping it to about an hour because then I don't feel pressured to kind of like stretch out the videos, but I still feel like it's a good amount of time to get some like chatting and hanging out in and questions answered. So, if it goes a little over, I'm not complaining, but it'll probably go for about an hour today. We'll see. It's 11. Oh, so you're like much more up and awake than I am right now. Oh, darn it. No, there was something else I was going to say really fast. Okay, so I mentioned the time thing. So right off the bat, I do want to announce our next live stream because I wrote it down this time because I was thinking like I should announce this like at the beginning and end, but our next live stream will be Sunday, May 16th. So put that in your calendars. Just in case you have to pop out before the end of the video, I'll announce it now as well. Yeah, it is really, it's really nice out here right now. I would like to be outside, but it's a little bit, I'll probably go hang out on my balcony for a bit today just because I want to get out, but it's a little bit of, my mobility is a little limited right now with my busted foot. So it's been a little hard. Especially because I live on the second story, so I've got stairs, which is not the end of the world, but it is a pain. So I'd like to get outside for a little bit today, but that'll probably just be out to my balcony. I was going to say something else before I began the topic, but it left my head, so I'll get back to it later. It's fine. Good morning, Ashley. Oh, sorry. Northern Witch Podcast. I don't know when I know somebody's like real name and then I see their like YouTube tag, I'm like, oh, which one should I call them? I'm not sure. But you have your own podcast where you say your name, so I figure it's probably okay. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, let's get started. I've been like talking away. Maybe I shouldn't do topics for this because I like to just chat with you guys and ramble. So, okay, that's what I figured. But I was like, I think it was last month I called somebody by their first name and she doesn't use her first name and she's not, she's not a content creator. And so I was like, oh, I don't know if that was okay. But I didn't call her out by her YouTube tag as well. So nobody really knew who, or username or whatever. So nobody really knew who I was talking about. So I was like, I hope it was okay. Good morning, Hannah. Good morning. Oh, yep. I was just announcing that the next live stream will also be on I already forgot it, May 16th. So make sure to put it in your calendar. If the 16th is a Sunday, then I have that right. Yes, May 16th. So put it in your calendars because I love when you guys can make it. Okay, so today I do have a topic. Like I said, I will take questions at the end, and I have a couple that came in advance, but not too many this time. But yeah, the questions at the end can be on the topic I'm discussing, or it can just be on just general questions, whatever you guys feel like asking. I've got my coffee and my water. I learned my lesson after my first live stream that all the talking makes my mouth, the talking and the coffee or tea makes my mouth so dry. Have to have water on hand. Okay. So this is a bit of a stream of consciousness, although I did type it up, so I'll mostly be kind of reading off of the laptop because I will just ramble for like the next hour and a half if I allow myself to. So I figured, oh, let me go ahead and type it up. But I kind of wanted to talk about the sense of loss of control that we sometimes face in life, and kind of taking life's blows in stride when you feel like so I will say this is something that I'll probably expound upon in a future video, but for this one, this is kind of just focused on my present situation and how it's affecting me, why it's affecting me, and what I'm kind of doing to deal with it, how I'm kind of refocusing it to view it as something productive. So you guys, I think some of you know, I broke my foot, which, bringing up the topic of loss of control, oh, I broke my foot, sounds a little dramatic, but just, you know, you'll see what I'm kind of getting at. So I find myself in this position right now where I'm very vulnerable, and I find myself needing to be very dependent. Which is something that I'm not used to. I do have a metatarsal fracture. It's, I'm basically stuck in a boot and on crutches. I can't bear any weight on my foot. My movement is difficult and slow. I have to use crutches everywhere I go. I can't put my foot down. So I can't drive because it's my pedal foot. I can't drive myself anywhere. Getting up and down stairs is very difficult. I can't carry things around my apartment when I'm on, because I'm using the crutches, you know. So I either have to have a backpack, or even just bringing a glass of water from the kitchen to the bedroom, I have to ask Mikey to do it for me. Showering, I have the little like stool in the shower, and the whole thing is a hassle because I can't take the boot off. You know, it's just, everything is tiresome and a pain in the ass, basically, right now is what I'm getting at. My foot hurts. The undersides of my arms and the sides of my ribs feel bruised all the time. There's kind of now starting to ease up, but that's always a pain. If I stand on the crutches with my left leg for too long, my left foot starts to hurt because it feels like I'm using it not only for all my weight, but to balance. And then my right knee starts to hurt because it's bending and it's holding up the weight of the boot and the bottom half of my leg. Like everything, it's very frustrating is what I want to say. And it got me thinking, like, I'm fine for the most part. I'll get over this. It's not a big deal. I am having a little bit of difficulty getting to see an orthopedist right now because my insurance through Covered California is still transferring from Orange County up to my new county. So that's been a thing, but otherwise, like, it was a clean break. It wasn't that bad. Right now, it's more just a massive frustration, and I find myself in a position that I'm not comfortable with. I don't feel like I'm independent right now. I don't feel like I'm in control of a lot of things. If I want to go anywhere, I have to ask Mikey or somebody to drive me. It's just, it's very frustrating is my point. I think I've rambled about that enough. I did not stick to the script, you guys. I meant to stick to the script so it would be concise, but here we are. This is why my videos have so many cuts in them, because I tend to ramble. So yeah, obviously this was not something I expected to happen. And that frustration, I mean, it probably seems pretty reasonable. I think most people would prefer to be fully mobile and not need anyone else's help to perform basic tasks. So like I said, it probably sounds kind of dramatic when I'm like, let's talk about dealing with loss of control. But this is something that I really do struggle with, because I'm a very independent person, sometimes to a fault. I struggle to ask for help because I pride myself in being able to solve problems by myself, do things by myself. And I am a productivity addict. Like, I have a lot of trouble delegating tasks. And I like to get shit done. Excuse my language, but that's just how I am. Like, I'm constantly multitasking. I'm always looking for work to do. I have trouble Like I can't take a full day off. I never can without getting at least like a couple of productive things done, whether that's like running errands, something work related, getting chores done, making something. There's always more for me to do and so or places to go. So I'm just one of those people that's always on the run. And honestly, having COVID, as far as that like tuning out that part of my brain that wants to just run and do things, that was easier to tune that part of my brain out when I had COVID than it is now. Because right now, besides my foot, I feel fine. Like I feel totally fine. When I had COVID, I was exhausted. I was too busy sleeping to be anxious. So that's kind of how I'm viewing it. But so yeah, this is an issue of mine. I burn myself out. I tend to run myself ragged. I've worked myself into illness. Like I've stressed myself out with work to the point of just absolute burnout. Like I got sick. There were years where I was getting sick like once a month because I was just, constantly on the go. I have trouble waking up on like a lazy Sunday, for instance, and just lounging in bed for a while, like either just, cuddling with my boyfriend or cuddling with the dog or just laying there thinking because I get anxious. Like I need to be awake right now. I need to get up and I need to do something. It gives me anxiety. Like yeah. It's unfortunate because who doesn't want to just like kind of relax and lay in on a lazy Sunday? And so, part of this is like a drive to succeed, sure. Like that's part of it. And that's great. But unfortunately, the fact that a lot of it like presents itself as like straight up anxiety has to do with you're the same way. Like it's both nice to know that you can relate, but I'm also sorry. Like I'm sorry because I know the struggle of being that person. So the fact that it kind of stems itself as anxiety is not just the result of like, I'm a driven person, I'm ambitious and want to succeed. Part of it's a result of like my past and like stuff that I'm dealing with. So I did post that meme the other day about shadow work on my Instagram, where she's like strangling her literal shadow. And it's very accurate right now. So my issues with needing to be constantly productive are sort of a separate topic, but I do know that my difficulty in feeling reliant on other people, that stems from, this is something that I've kind of processed both through therapy and through my own shadow work, is that stems from, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder at a young age. I was dealing with depression starting at the age of about 8. And it took years before I realized that feeling wasn't normal. When you kind of grow up with that, when you're a kid and you have those emotions and those thoughts, you think everybody does. You don't know that it's out of the norm. So I didn't know to seek help until I was 12. And when I did, I was not taken seriously. When I started to self-harm a couple years later, I was not taken seriously. I did eventually get help at 14, but when, and I started getting professional help but when I would try to talk to my friends about it, to see if they understood and just have someone to vent to, and because they were my friends, I kind of got treated like, that's weird. Why are you talking about your feelings? Because they're teenagers. So to them, like emotions, awkward, like that's how I was kind of treated. So, they just acted very uncomfortable with it. So I've kind of learned that all of that not being listened to, not being taken seriously, being treated like your emotions are awkward, we don't want to hear about them, it makes us uncomfortable, it culminated into this problematic level of independence of like, I can just handle this on my own. Other people won't believe me. Other people won't listen to me. Other people don't want to hear it. I'll handle it on my own. I'll bottle it up. It's fine. I learned that asking for help led to either being ignored or flat out denied. So why ask for help? What's the point? So I just became self-sufficient and I became really proud of that. And, becoming more emotionally open is something that I did start to learn to do. Again, I relearned when I was probably when I started college theater. Um, and all my friends, the friends that I'm still, the people I was friends with in high school who kind of acted that way, I mean, they were teenagers, and some of them I'm still friends with to this day. Some of them I saw like literally 4 days ago or 3 days ago. So, we've all grown up and matured, and I've learned that I can trust people with my voice now. I can trust them and open up to them and not be shut down. But for a long time I wasn't. But that physical need to constantly be independent is something that is still burrowed deep inside of me. And so, like, self-sufficiency is a good thing, don't get me wrong, but it's important to practice everything in moderation. We all have our limits. We all need help sometimes, whether we want to admit it or not. And I definitely have trouble admitting it. And right now, that's becoming very, very apparent to me. Mikey keeps coming into the room, and I'll be like on the crutches, and I'll have like one lean up against the wall and the other one I'm like leaning over trying to do something, and he's just like, what the hell are you doing? Like, let me help you. Like, and anytime I've texted him, if he's up in the loft, I've texted him, hey, like, I need help right now. He just stops whatever he's doing and he comes downstairs and helps me. Every time I've asked him, like, hey, and I feel guilty, like, hey, I know I can't really contribute much to chores right now, but do you mind vacuuming tomorrow? Like, I feel bad asking that, and I hate asking it, and I also just want to do it myself. But he does it, and he's wonderful. I've asked a friend for a ride, last week, to our coven meeting, and she was like, oh yeah, no problem. I live 2 minutes from your apartment. Not a big deal. So I'm like, okay, but I still hate it. It's very frustrating. So I'm taking this in stride, and the whole broken foot deal. And I'm trying to view this injury as a blessing in disguise, basically. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say like a deity or the universe broke my foot. I'm not saying that. But I do feel that this is a tough lesson that I really need to learn. And so I do, unfortunately, it turned out to be a broken foot. That was the situation that I needed to be put into, the catalyst for this realization and processing this. But sometimes the universe or whatever higher power you believe in, yes, send things into our lives, send these hurdles into our lives to force us to kind of force us to learn, basically, learn to cope with new circumstances and work through things. And so I feel like this is just kind of one of them, which has got me thinking a lot, because I do have, I had talked about in my vlog that I'm going to be working with deity soon. I don't want to go into that too much right now, but I did kind of get several signs that made me go like, okay, this might be something I'll be doing soon. So, which I will be, but like, I'm trying to build a relationship with deity. And so I think to myself, like, sure, I can leave out all the offerings I want, but why would they bother sending me guidance if I just ignored it? If I just do the thing that Tiffany always does and goes, oh, it's fine, I can handle it myself. Like, relationships are give and take. And so, I mean, sure, they're not going to complain about me being like, just offerings, but at a certain point, they're there for guidance. They're there to assist. They're there to help and watch over you. And what would be the point? If I'm just like, no, it's fine, I got it. I don't need to listen to you. It's fine. So yeah, that's just one of those things I've been thinking about. And I wanted to share this because I feel like there's probably people out there who can relate. Sorry that it was like a long monologuing tangent. This is my first time doing a topic for the live stream, so I may alter the format or style or delivery a little bit later. But yeah, I figured there's people who can relate, and whether that's with, this particular issue with always needing independence or something else, and I can't say that all of life's problems come with meaning. This is, at the end of the day, a pretty minor problem. It's easy to be frustrated with it and then seek out a purpose behind it. But I can't honestly say that all of life's issues come with meaning, and I believe many come with meanings that are kind of beyond our comprehension. Either they're just like, and sometimes they're just too painful to even attempt to pull meaning out of it. Like if you unexpectedly lose a loved one, or like a terminal diagnosis, things like that are that level of heaviness, of seriousness. Like it is really, how do you find meaning in that? I mean, if you can, you are ugh, like good for you. You're a very graceful person, and that's something I aspire to be, to find that deeper meaning in those horrific kind of events. But this is something minor. It's much, my foot's broken. It's going to heal in a few months. It's fine. So in the meantime, I can find meaning and purpose behind it and let that comfort me and also allow me to utilize it to better myself. This could have, so I'm not trying to diminish the pain of any more serious afflictions or issues or anything like that. I'm not trying to be like, oh, if you have a problem in life, just find a silver lining, it's fine. Like, I know that's not always the case. So, but right now I'm talking about a broken foot. There's, it's not, I didn't lose my foot. It's not, and I have no permanent issues with it. As far as we know, I highly doubt that I do. So, but I did just want to talk about, with these minor setbacks and things, it is very important to look for life's lessons because it is a learning opportunity. And I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying you have to be happy that it happened. I'm definitely not. But it can provide a type of comfort, and it can provide an opportunity for you to make the best of it out of a bad situation and kind of rise above it. And make the most out of it. So that's all I wanted to say. Sorry, long rambling tangent. I did see stuff popping up in the chat, so I do want to go back and look at those because I was, but okay. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so actually, good morning, Lady Wolfborn. Good morning, Amona, sorry, not ammonia. I'm still waking up, I guess. Amona, sorry. Okay. So at some point you need to be heard and say, yeah, absolutely. Everybody does. Like everybody needs that. Like you not only need it, you both need it, even if you don't always want it. And I think that's something like I'm learning. And it was when I was younger, it was like I needed it, I wanted it, I wasn't getting it. And now it's like this, like, I need it, I don't want it, but I should take it anyway. And then let's see, Lady Wolfborn, I think maybe this is showing you that you have people in your life that you can rely on. Yes, no, that's absolutely. I actually last week I went on Amazon and I bought a couple gifts for Mikey just to say thank you. And I was just like, I was going to hold off till after I was healed up and everything, but why not give you these now? Especially because I had to ask him to go to the porch to pick up the Amazon boxes because I can't do it myself. So I was like, I may as well just let him open them now. So he's not going, oh, what did you order? But yeah, like he's just been absolutely amazing. Like I said, I text him. He could be in the middle of gaming or chores or whatever he's doing, and I just text him, "Hey, I need help," and he just drops what he's doing and he comes to me. I try not to use that power for evil, but only when it's absolutely necessary, or I let him know, like, "Hey, when you have a minute, I need a little help or whatever." It's absolutely wonderful to have those people in my life and know that everybody's just, it's been a very weird thing for me too. I was at a coven meeting last week and they just set me up, had me kick back in a recliner, and like they'd go to, oh, do you want a glass of wine? And oh, sure. And I'd like start to get up on my own. They're like, no, stay there, and come and bring it to me. And I was just like, I feel really guilty, but also really blessed right now. Like, but it's just, even those, whether it's those small favors or Mikey driving me around all over town to run errands and take me to doctor's appointments or whatever it is. Like, I will admit, the other day I had a total mental breakdown. I was cooking and my left leg was hurting really bad from just supporting me. Like I said, my right knee was aching from supporting the weight of the boot, and I kind of lost my balance and I dropped a knife, and then that spilled stuff everywhere, and I just like I was so fed up. And that was on top of like, so I was just in a lot of pain, and that was on top of like a lot of other things happening that day that was just like the stupid foot, like just being so fed up with it. And oh, Lena, sorry, she's saying hi. Unfortunately, she's saying hi to a dog outside. Lena, baby girl. I'm so sorry. I know. Come here. I know. You want to see the doggies, huh? Good girl. You're protecting, huh? Sorry. And then I totally lost my train of thought of what I was saying, but I had a mental breakdown the other day and I forget. I totally forgot what I was saying. It's okay though. But yeah, luckily, oh, your dogs are saying hi to Lita. Sorry that my dog set off your dogs. That's so funny though. I wish she could hear them. Oh, that is so funny. Well, I guess her barking is not all bad then if they're she's making friends, I guess. But yeah, I do have the luxury. I understand it's it's not like I was in a huge accident and I wound up paralyzed. This is a temporary setback, and it's a privilege that this is yeah, they are having their own live chat. That's amazing. That's so funny. But this is sort of a privilege. I have the luxury to stop and think about like, well, what benefits can I get out of this? And as frustrating as it is, I can find a silver lining in the whole thing. Like I said, it's temporary. It's not that big of a deal. Like, it sucks, don't get me wrong, and it's painful, but it could be much worse. I mean, I wasn't in like some horrific accident that led to this or anything, so don't think it was that. But like, always life's problems could always be much worse. But no, actually, so I do want to get to questions now. And one of the questions that I got, because I don't know if I explained this, but one of the questions I got was, how did you break your foot? Which is a funny story. Okay, so it was Easter Sunday, also my mom's birthday, and I had just gotten done with my workout, and so normally I do my weight, I do about an hour and a half of weightlifting, and then I do about 30 to 45 minutes of cardio, kind of depending on what kind of cardio I'm doing. And I was gonna do some HIIT cardio, hop on the bike. But then I thought, like, well, it's Sunday, like, we're going to my parents in a bit, like, I just want to have a good time. So I was just like, I'm just going to dance around the living room, get my cardio in. And so I cranked up the music, and I was dancing around, and so now let me be clear, like, I have a little bit of training in dance, but I am by no means a professional dancer at all. So Lena got up, because always when I'm dancing, I do this all the time. Like, I'll dance up to the couch where Lena is, and I'm like, come on, Lena. And I try to get her off the couch, and she just kind of looks at me like, I'm sleeping. So she actually got up that day and was sitting in the middle of the living room watching me dance. And I literally said, hey, Lena, watch this. And I did a little like jump spin thing, and I landed wrong. And that is how I broke my foot. So my own stupidity and clumsiness led to me breaking my foot. But that's just, that's where I'm at. At least it's a good story though, right? Sorry, I'm just realizing what a mess my hair is right now. It's funny because when I went to the ER later in the day, when I realized just how bad it was, they kept asking me like, well, what happened? And instead of just being like, oh, I kind of moved wrong, landed wrong on my foot, and the outside edge of my foot folded underneath me, and I actually heard and felt the crack, and I was like, oh no, what is that? But what I just had to explain, I was like, well, I was trying to impress my dog. Like I always started it with, I was trying to impress my dog. I was dancing in my living room trying to impress my dog, and this is what happened. It was just the stupidest way for anybody to break. I mean, there's probably stupider ways to break one's foot, but it's a pretty stupid way to do it. But it was just sheer clumsiness. I just landed the move wrong, and that's why you shouldn't do it outside of professional footwear. And not on carpet, like on actual floor that's intended for. No, I just yeah, but it's very frustrating that I love that I have a funny story out of it, but I'm also sort of like my own clumsiness led to this level of just sheer frustration. Yeah. Like there was the technician who put on the temporary splint. I was telling him the full story and he was laughing so hard, and I was just laughing while I was telling him, and he was just like, he's like, that's probably the most positive injury I've heard of all day. And this was like 7 p.m. in the emergency room, so um how long does the cast need to be on? So I don't actually know. Um, yeah. I was doing an interpretive dance for my dog, as one does. I love that because that's, yeah, pretty much how. So I don't actually know how long the cast needs to be on. I've been all over the place. I went to the ER, and then they referred me to an orthopedist, and then I made the appointment, and then the orthopedist did not. I was told 6 to 12 weeks, which is kind of a broad time frame. So that's all they told me in the ER. But the orthopedist canceled my appointment because he does not take my health insurance, which nobody does because it's still transferring. I am under Covered California. Since I don't have employer's health insurance, I have my own. So I'm through Covered California, and it's like a 3 to 4 month transfer process from Orange County to up here. So I'm still in the middle of that process, and I've been trying to get it. I've been like, that's another thing, that's another aspect of this whole like frustrating saga, is that I've just been on the phone with all these different agencies trying to, like, what do I do? Like, how can you expedite the transfer? Can you something? It's just been so frustrating. So I have an appointment with a GP who can give me a referral to an orthopedist who takes my insurance. So that's where we're at. And that appointment isn't until the end of the month. So I'm a little bit worried right now that like I said, it was a clean break. So hopefully it's fine. But there's always that risk of, if you don't have the right specialist see it, there's the risk that it's going to heal incorrectly and it's going to have to be rebroken or surgery. But like I said, it was a clean break. So just, oh yes. Don't you love living in America with our healthcare system? Oh, it's been so frustrating. And this isn't the first time I've dealt with health insurance issues through Covered California, because most of the jobs that I've had in my life did not provide insurance. So it's just very frustrating. So yeah. I love that you guys are just enjoying hanging out, because I understand we haven't really talked a whole lot about witchcraft today. It's been mostly like what's going on in my personal life, although I did want to bring up kind of the shadow work that I've been doing with the present situation, and just I figured people could relate. But thank you for bearing with me. But feel free to ask questions in the chat, or just continue to hang out and talk amongst yourselves, whatever you guys want to do. So I did have, let's see. I know I've noticed I have several people clicking out, leaving the live stream. So they're either like, oh, it's Sunday, I got things to do, or they're like, come on, Tiff, talk about witchcraft. I don't come here to listen about your life's problems. Either way. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like I've said in my vlogs, like my mundane life and my magical life are so because I used to section my blogs out. Oh yeah, yeah, no, go ahead and type up your witchy questions because I'll find them in the chat as I'm rambling as I do. I ramble, but feel free to put it in the chat and then I'll see it when I pause my rambling for a second. But no, I talked about my blogs because I used to have a section where I talked about like what spells I did for the month, things related to witchcraft. Then I talked about things related to the channel, and then I talked about my mundane life. But I found more and more that my mundane life keeps applying to the witchcraft like part of my, or like as I'm talking about like spells I did or magical elements of my month, it's sort of like, well, for context, I have to explain this mundane part, and then I end up with nothing for the mundane section. And I'm just like, more and more, I'm realizing like everything in my life is wrapped up in witchcraft and magic, which is wonderful. It's just, that part of my spirituality is such a big part of my life. Like, it's just becoming more and more apparent to me. I think it's funny. Okay, so there are questions. Eckhart Tolle. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me you want to listen to. That's good. I'm glad you like just hanging out because because I know the name, but off the top of my head, it's not ringing any bells. So let me Google it. Google's my friend. Eckhart Tolle. Okay, here's the official site. Let me see a list of books here. Maybe it's in the shop section. I can't find books. There we go. Because I don't actually know. I know the name, but it might be one of those situations where I'm like, oh, I have like 5 of his books in my Amazon wish list, but I've never actually read any of them, or I might have. Yeah, I don't think I have. I think I have The Power of Now in my Amazon wish list, but I haven't actually read anything by him. What I can do though, if you're interested, is I can get one of his books, and if you give me like a little bit of time to read it, read it, and then I can do a book review on it. He's the Power of Now spiritual teacher guy. Oh, sorry, I had clicked out to his website tab to Google it before I saw your comment about, oh, he's the Power of Now, because that would have, I should have just waited for you to tell me. But yeah, I can do a book review if you're interested in that. But yes. So I think the only way, good morning, Janet. I don't think I've said good morning yet, so good morning. I think the only way to find meaning in the mundane and magical is both the ultimate expression of balance. Yes, absolutely. Like I'm not really sure. Like, I feel like if it's easy for people to separate the two and not find magical meaning in their everyday mundane life, they're missing something. They're missing like a critical aspect of what magic is. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I think eventually they'll learn. Eventually along that path they'll learn. I know I did. Like that was at the very beginning of my journey. I didn't realize it's kind of like when I talked about in one of my vlogs, I mentioned I had watched what's the new Pixar movie, the Soul. I had watched Soul, and I just like recommended it because I loved it, and I was just like, it's all about finding beauty in every little tiny mundane thing, and that's also beauty, but also magic to me. So I think if somebody doesn't have an eye for that quite yet, it's only a matter of time. Like they will. Okay, so let me also head back. Let's see. Okay, now that you have a big following, I was wondering, have you thought of doing group spells or intentions? Um, uh, you mean like, what do you mean by that? Sorry. Do you mean like having like everybody focus on a specific intention as a group, like myself and all of the followers sort of thing? I have not actually thought about that, but I love that idea. I love that idea. Um, I was actually thinking about doing a starting, I'll probably, let me check the calendar. Today is the 1, 2, 3, 19th. No, 18th. I know what day it is. Uh, so I might start it on Beltane, but I was thinking about doing like a social media self-love challenge. Just kind of organizing one myself and getting everybody who wants to be involved do it. Uh, Self-love is a little bit more personal, and if we did kind of group intentions, we could make those more outwardly, but and affecting like, bigger areas as opposed to just ourselves as individuals. But that's one thing I was considering doing, and I love the idea of forming it as like a challenge because you get a lot of people involved at once, and you kind of get a lot of energy and power going into that. So that is something, yes, like to stop mass shootings and wars. Yeah. I love that. I love that, especially you mentioned mass shootings and being a US citizen. I especially love that idea to stop those. Yeah, I think so. I think one thing that's kind of slowing me down with doing things like that is that I'm waiting for the social aspect of the channel to grow because I have a lot of followers, which is wonderful, or subscribers, which is wonderful. Hello, everybody. But like the Facebook is kind of slow to take off, the Instagram's a little slow to take off, and I'm not sure how many people are actually seeing like my community posts on YouTube, which granted that's partially my fault because I keep forgetting that I have that tab, the community tab, to utilize it. So I think once those kind of start growing and it's easier for me to make those announcements, I will, because I know right now, like not everybody watches. I have some people, and it's wonderful, who watch like every single one of my videos, no matter what. And I thank you all. Well, even if you pick and choose, because I know with YouTubers that I subscribe to, I pick and choose what videos I watch, because sometimes there will be a topic that I'm just not interested in, or I go, oh, I've heard them talk about this before. I don't need to listen to this. So I'll skip it. And so sometimes if you skip videos, you miss certain announcements. But long story short, yes, I would like to do that, but I'll probably wait a little bit. Or I guess I could, it doesn't hurt to do it on a smaller scale. So I might put something together for like Instagram and Facebook and the community tab to start kind of like announcing things like that. And because I think that would be wonderful to do. Or even if we just did something during the live stream. So everybody who's tuned in for the live streams, we can all kind of work together and work on something. I love that. Okay, let me. Okay. Sorry, when I drink my coffee, I try not to do that obnoxious slurping thing, but this mug makes it difficult. Okay, I've just been starting out, so I'm reading. Fasting. So fasting before any sort of ritual is optional. Usually fasting has two purposes. One is it's sort of a physical internal cleanse. So a lot of people will do a cleansing ritual bath prior to a ritual, just to cleanse themselves. And fasting is sort of an internal version of that. Sorry, I cracked myself up. I was just thinking like, I guess you could probably just like take some, the stuff that you have to drink before you get a colonoscopy? Like the day before. Sorry, that's really gross. But I was just thinking, I was like, I guess if you really wanted to internally cleanse, you could do that instead of the fast. But anyway, okay. It's so you have internal cleansing purposes. And then the other thing is, so fasting is one way to achieve gnosis. So gnosis, of course, is just like sort of an altered state of consciousness. And so taking yourself to any extreme will do that. So fasting will do it. Sleep deprivation will do it. Deep, deep meditation will do it. You also have things like excitatory gnosis. So that would be achieving high levels of energy. That could be through dance, singing, chanting, sex, running, things like that. Just any form of exercise can raise those energy levels. Then there's, yeah, so inhibitory gnosis is another version. So that would be deep meditation. And then there's also things like that cause pain. So like there's the death posture. It's a yoga posture. I don't know if it's actually like yoga, but it's a physical posture that is very, very uncomfortable. And that's the point of it, is you hold it long enough, you become exhausted from it, and in enough pain, you achieve a type of gnosis. So it's really up to you. For some people, it's just not healthy to fast. And so it's definitely not a requirement. It kind of depends if it works for you and what its purpose is. I know I certainly don't, I don't bother with ritual cleansing before every, at least not like a full bath before every spell I do. I will wash my hands with intention beforehand and cleanse my tools, but that's about it. I don't always do I just do a full ritual bath like maybe once a month. But yeah, fasting it's a personal option. But that's usually why. And then it's just if it's safe for you, if it speaks to you. If it doesn't do anything for you other than go like, my stomach is growling, I feel sick, I feel faint, and it's just very distracting, then, don't do it. But it's up to you. If you want to do it for the cleansing aspect and it makes you feel that way, again, it could just be too distracting. But if you feel fine after 24 hours of fasting, it's just, like I said, personal choice. As somebody from the fitness industry, though, I'm like, don't fast. Don't fast. It's like, you can't, I have my opinions about fasting and how to go about it in a healthy manner as somebody in the fitness community, but that's a different thing. So, So yeah, let me know if you want me to elaborate further on fasting, though. I do think it can be a very useful form of achieving gnosis, but it's just can cause a lot of undue stress on the body that you can achieve the same thing in a healthier, safer way. But yeah. Anyway. Okay, let me read here. Okay, Kara. Yeah, sorry. I just saw your comment about recommending. So, okay, well, because I've had one of his books, The Power of Now, in my Amazon list for quite a while. So I should probably go ahead and do it. Good morning, Heather. How did with my coven, I lucked out. I found my coven. Honestly, it was part of a process. I feel like my coven was a reward for me loving myself enough to do myself the favor of being honest about who I was. So I was very uncomfortable telling people I was a witch or a pagan in general for a long time. Once I came out to my parents, which was recently, I think, as you guys know, I just sort of became more and more comfortable speaking up about it. And just telling people and just being like, don't give me side eye. I know what you're thinking. People have their assumptions. That's not me. Like, I'm still very science minded. I'm not worshiping Satan. Whatever you are assuming with me saying this, just feel free to ask me questions. But I've been a lot more open about who I am now. And because of that, I moved back to the Bay Area and I have a ton of friends up here. And I was hiking with one of them and I haven't seen her. Oh, ow. Sorry, my foot just gave a weird ache. Ugh. I was hiking with one of them and, I just openly told her, like, as we're discussing, oh, what have you been doing the past 3 years? What have you been doing over the pandemic? And I told her, like, I started a YouTube channel. It's about paganism and witchcraft. And she went, oh, I started practicing paganism this past year. And I was like super shocked. But yeah, then it turned out that, excuse me, it turned out that two other girls, women that I know, that I haven't seen in a while, also started practicing. And so the friend I was hiking with, you know, we were all, we all knew each other. We're all kind of from the same circles before I had moved to Orange County. And so she, you know, I said, well, let's start a coven. Because then she ended up sharing my channel with a few of them. And they became, you know, more involved. And so I reached out to say, like, hey, I really appreciate your support with the channel. Also, like, let's start a coven. And they had already kind of had an unofficial group going where they all kind of discussed witchcraft. And so there was another girl I hadn't met yet, and another one who I was just kind of a distant acquaintance with. And so we all got together and started holding meetings, and I sheer luck. I want to say that, like, it was complete luck. But I also do feel like it was finally the right time in my journey for it to come into my life. And that it was a reward for me being like, you know what? This is who I am. I'm not ashamed of it. I don't have to go around broadcasting it to the world, but I don't need to dodge the question. If somebody asks me, what's your channel about? I don't need to be like, oh, it's educational. Like, I can be honest about this because it's just who I am, and I shouldn't feel ashamed of that. So I took it as a reward that I received for my self-love. So luck. I know that, like, your question may have been more geared towards, like, you know, what website can we check out to also find covens in our area, but like that's just not how it was. I'm so sorry. But I will say there are some wonderful subreddits dedicated to finding covens in areas if you are interested. There's also Meetup. Meetup is a great, when I was looking for a coven originally in Orange County, I did find a few on Meetup. They ended up not quite being right for me, so I didn't join. But that was actually a really great kind of direction, or a direction to go. That was a great resource to finding a coven. And then I know some people who found covens on Craigslist. I will just say, obviously, be very careful with that route. But if you're looking for a coven yourself, there's are some options. There used to be one. Oh, what is the website called? I cannot remember what it's called. I've talked about this in a video before. I think it was in one of my like tips for new witches videos. But there was another website. It's not as popular anymore. Like, it used to be much more popular maybe like 10 years ago, but it's still up and running, and you can sometimes find, I'll find it and link it in the description for this because I cannot remember what the website's called. It's a little outdated, but some people do use it. Okay. Go sit at the DMV for a while. Yeah, Janet, so your comment about fasting, that exactly, like, it's just like, it's a very, like, I sometimes, like, if I don't eat, for a while, like, I start to feel nauseous, where I'm just like, oh, like, I have done intermittent fasting before, and I've done extended fast before for health purposes, but if it's not something I'm doing on a regular basis, and I'm not, you know, keeping up with my electrolytes, like drinking water and adding electrolytes to it, it's like I end up just feeling sick. I feel terrible, and not in a, I feel like I'm like pushing my body to my mind to its limits in order to like achieve gnosis out of this. I just felt crappy, basically. So yeah, I think usually in most books, if it's 24 hours, it's about cleansing. So if you want to do that, I would say just make sure you're drinking a lot of water throughout. If you want to do like an internal cleanse, just drink a lot of water throughout the day. Or, or like I mentioned earlier, you can always drink that stuff that they give you the night before your colonoscopy. Sorry, that's disgusting. And that would be like, why nobody wants to go through that if they don't have to. So I've been lucky. I've never had to experience that before, but my family members have. So I've heard all about it, all of the gory details of that experience. So it makes you too clean. Yeah, unless I'm like, why? Nobody wants to use that unless they absolutely have to. Oh, bye, Ashley. Okay, hopefully you're not checked out yet and you're hearing this. Bye, Ashley. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yes, I will be in touch soon. Actually, I've been making a lot of headway with what we discussed, so I will be in touch soon. Sorry, everybody else. That was like a um, not an ominous comment to make, but it was a little secretive comment. But don't worry, it's fun channel stuff that I have planned. So yeah. Um, Book suggestions for newbies. Yeah, Buckland's. So that's the thing. Buckland's and Scott Cunningham, those books, they can be very informative, but they're also very, very Wiccan, which is fine. But if you're not leaning Wiccan, then it gets very muddled and confusing as to like, well, which aspects are pagan, which aspects are Wiccan, like which aspects are just kind of general witchcraft. Um, let's see. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to remember the name. So there's another one. It's about traditional witchcraft. It's called The Crooked Path by Keldon. Let me actually type this in here. I think I'm spelling his name right, but if you have trouble finding it with that, it might be Kelden. Um, I'm trying to think. Before You Cast a Spell is an interesting one. I did do a book review on that. It kind of depends, like if you're looking for a broad, general, kind of on paganism book. I'm trying to think. Of course, I always talk about this, Advanced Magic for Beginners. I love that book so much. And now it is a chaos magic book. It doesn't go into, nature and deity and things like that. It is a chaos magic book. However, it does give you such a great foundation for intention, the power of the mind, and how you assign power to things. That basically, like, if you truly believe that something has power, whether it is a word, whether it is emotion, whether it is burning a sigil versus meditating over it or whatever, like, you're automatically giving it power. And it's a really great foundational piece. As opposed, like, for that specifically. Let me also think. Yeah, so those are both really good ones. If you want more on like history, like contemporary history of paganism, to kind of help you explore different paths, Drawing Down the Moon by Margot Adler is another great one. I actually love that book in general, and I just recommend it to everybody because it's such a fascinating read. And it answered a lot of questions for me about, well, about like, because it's all so confusing when you first start. Like, like what's Wiccan and what's Hoodoo and what's this and what's that. And of course, there is a lot of crossover between all traditions and all different forms of paganism. And that's a big reason why I'm just an eclectic, because I just can't pick. But that one will clear up a lot of questions about that. And then there's another one. I'm trying to think of. I do, yeah, I think it's in my 12 tips for beginners. I do have a list of books in that. I will admit though that some of them are like Scott Cunningham and Buckland, because I know a lot of people, like I did get enough out of them that I recommend those books. Like if you haven't finished Buckland's book, I would recommend go ahead and finish it. Because it is just interesting enough. Like you will get just enough out of it. I think it's worth the read, but I also understand like it's very Wiccan leaning, and so that can be a little like not for me. But yes. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm trying to think. I'll find that other book. It's about kind of just paganism in general, and I cannot. It's like the pagan path of the pagan or something like that. I can't think of what it's called. I'll figure that one out, and I'll. It's actually one. Oh, did I mess up my eyebrow? I forgot I was wearing makeup, minimal makeup, but I forgot I was wearing makeup, so I'm like smudging my eyebrow. I forgot what I was saying. Anyways, doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, so I'll take a couple more questions. I do have, let's see. Oh, so I did receive a question about will I think I received this also in the last live stream, so I thought I'd go ahead and answer it again because it was messaged to me. It was sent to me in a message, but I was asked if I would do a tarot series like I did the rune series, which that answer is maybe, probably, most likely, but I'm not sure when, just because the tarot is not something I know nearly as well as the runes. Um, there's just so many of them. But I did want to recommend the podcast Between the Worlds. Between the Worlds is a wonderful podcast. It's very lighthearted. I like the ladies in it. They are very feminist leaning. It seeps into a lot of what they have to talk about. So if that bothers you at all, maybe I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. But if you don't mind some feminist talk in your tarot podcast, I highly recommend it. It's such a good it's just very informative, and they go like card by card. They start off with all the major arcana, and then like I think right now they're in the middle of the swords. So it's like I can't remember what they're doing, but it's like, they start off with the two of pentacles and the three, but then they just every single individual card gets its own episode. So I'd highly recommend that. That's Between the Worlds podcast. I was listening to it on the Android podcast app, but I'm sure you can like find it wherever. But in the meantime, until I get my own tarot series going, I will direct you all to one that I know is really good. So, you would think somebody couldn't talk for 45 minutes about a single card, but that's how complex the tarot is. Like that's also, I think, one reason why I work with the runes more than the tarot is just because there's less of them. It's just easier. Oh yes, I'm also reading Psychic Witch right now, actually. That's one I would love to do a book review on, but I'm taking it, like, when I say reading it, I mean like reading a chapter or like a section of it like every 2 weeks, because I'm trying to give myself time to like slowly process and do the exercises. And honestly, like sometimes he'll give you an exercise and I'll like forget. Like it's like something you're supposed to do like throughout the day, and I'll just like forget to do it. I'm not always the best student when it comes to witchcraft. No, actually, I'm glad you brought that up though, because now I'm telling myself, I'm like, no, Tiff, I'm determined. Your foot is broken. You're stuck in a boot. There's not a whole lot you could do right now. You may as well get those exercises done, because I'm really enjoying his book, and oh my gosh, the amount of like actual like scientific sources that he cites in it, I'm just absolutely wowed by already. So I really want to do a book review on it. So yeah. Mastering Witchcraft by, have I read that one? I think that sounds familiar. Hold on, let me Google this. Because I think I've read that. I think it's just been a really long time. Yes, I have read this. I unfortunately can't share an opinion because it was so long ago, and I think it was one that I like binge read. So like while I learned from it, it did like my general impression of the book did not stick in my memory, because I think I read it like 5 years ago. Actually, I kind of want to reread that now that you brought it up. But Boo, I will take your recommendation then. Yeah, it's been a long, sorry, I'm just like, now I'm like, when did I read that? I read that a long time ago. Yeah, Janet, I 100% agree with that. That's part of what I love. You guys, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I love witchcraft. No, but I was just gonna say I love, like, I don't know if you guys have figured this out yet, but I really love paganism and witchcraft. But no, one thing that I really love about it is just that it's just such a lifelong journey that you'll never master. And that's not a bad thing, right? Like that's like you can definitely because there's always more to learn. So it's not something you can ever conquer. You can never, it's never ending. And I love that. Like there's no end to it, which on one hand, like with my A-type personality is very frustrating because I'm like, I need to finish this. Like I can get it done. I can be the best. Like, but it's not about that, right? And so that's something that I've learned to overcome in that regard. But I love that it's this lifelong journey because I feel comforted by that. I feel like this is a path that because before I was sort of spiritually anyway, I just sort of felt like I was just kind of wandering through an open field as an agnostic, just kind of wandering, no big deal, which is fine and it had its own merits. But once I became a pagan, I felt like, oh, I'm still in the open field, but there's a path now and it's never ending. Like I feel comforted knowing I'm walking down this and I don't know what I'm going to find along the way, but it's just sort of maybe I use the wrong analogy, but to me, it's a comfort that I have something to continuously kind of keep me busy almost. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but I don't know. It's a comfort to me knowing that it's never ending. So I'm just having trouble verbalizing why right now, but so I did have one more question and then I'll probably wrap this up unless you guys, okay, thank you. I'll probably wrap this up unless you guys have any more questions, which feel free to put those in the chat. The final question that I got was, when can we watch your film? The one that I was filming the weekend of the last live stream. And have you ever been on anything well known? So the short film, it's gonna be a minute until it's ready. It's now a little further delayed because of my foot, because we had some pickup shots that we still needed to film, and now we kind of have to work around the fact that I can't walk. And if we just suddenly have my character on crutches, that's gonna raise some questions. So we do have some pickup shots, which we can still get. We don't need to wait until my foot's healed, but it's going to just be a little bit trickier. And then once they've already started editing, our editor has already begun working on it, but he'll need that final footage to finish it. So that's probably a few months out at least before we have the finished product. And then from there, we cannot release it online right away because if you submit it to film festivals, they want to be the first to see it. Like you can submit to multiple film festivals at once, but most film festival panels will want you to not have released it on the internet, or anything like that yet. So it's honestly, I want to say it's probably at least a year out before I can actually like post a link. But I was considering maybe just going ahead and sharing some of my other short films and things that I've done. Excuse me, sorry. I'm trying not to burp on camera. Oh my goodness. But I'm trying to, I don't know, I might do that. As for have I ever been on anything well known? Sort of. So, I mean, I've done background work and stuff that I'm sure you guys have seen, but I don't know if you've seen me. Background acting is a very different thing from actual acting. But if anybody watches, I did do a couple episodes on different shows on Investigate Discovery. So if you guys know the channel Investigate Discovery, I don't know if it's still running, but there was a show called The Day I Almost Died. The Day I Almost Died is like they do interviews with people who had an incident where they literally almost died, and then they also do like a dramatic reenactment of it. And so in one of the episodes I played the guy's wife, so that was fun. I'm trying to think if there's, I mean, I've done a couple commercials. I was in a Coit commercial, Coit carpet cleaners. I don't know if that's a regional thing. We have Coit in the Bay Area, but I don't know if it's everywhere. I also did an industrial, um, it was a cleaning product brand called Flinka, but it's German, and I don't think it ever really took off in the US, but I was their spokesperson for a minute. So if you ever saw a Flinka commercial, that was me. um, and then I was also the spokesperson for it was just on the internet. So it's like, well, that one, no, probably not. Well, if you're into soap operas, you might have seen it. I was the spokesperson for internet website that did like news for soap operas and things. I worked for that company for a while, probably about 2 years. So yeah. So as far as anything you've seen, I don't know. Yeah, most of the stuff I did was I did a lot of theater, of course, and then short films. Uh, what else did I do? Yeah, I did a lot of short films, a lot of sketch comedy stuff too, because I love sketch comedy. Okay. Okay, try to find me in okay, so this one will be a hard one. Uh oh my gosh, what's the show called? What's the show called? Hold on, let me look up my IMDb page. And then I'm suddenly blanking on this one. So there's one episode of a show where it's a Halloween party, and I'm in full costume, face makeup, and everything. But I do get a couple of good shots in there, but I'm probably kind of hard to recognize. So if I can remember the name of the damn show. But let's see, I was also in the movie Jobs with Michael Fassbender. I was one of the, I don't know if I've spotted myself in that one or not, but I am in that one, and I think it's the 1989 launch or 88. It's the late 80s launch. I can't remember exactly when it was supposed to be, but I was in that one, and they put me in a very interesting outfit for that. Looking, that was the show. It was called Looking. So it was, I think, an HBO series, and I was in the Halloween party episode. So look for me in that one and tell me what my costume was, and I don't know, you'll get a shout out or something. What else was I in? Oh, okay. I did one of those court shows a couple years ago, the staged ones. If you guys didn't know that most of them are staged, not all of them. I think Judge Judy is real, but The Verdict with Judge Hatchett, I was on that. I lost my case. But it was funny because I went up and I was the girl who was playing my daughter was only like 3 years younger than me in real life. And I was just like, what? It's acting so funny. Yeah, I'm trying to think because I went to my IMDb page, but most of my background acting is not listed on IMDb because traditionally you don't post, like, you wouldn't want to list background acting on your resume. So I'm trying to honestly remember. I did a lot of work for this one Japanese TV show called The World's Most Astonishing News, but that's in Japan. So unless you're in Japan, I don't know if you've seen it, but I've been on that show a lot. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. I'll have to compile a list of all the back. I've just done so much freaking background work. Because it's, as an actor, it's a really great way to just make money. Like, it just gives you work to do on days when you're not shooting something else, and it's also really fun. It's fun, and it's networking, and it's also really good experience. You get to be kind of a fly on the wall for the filmmaking experience, which I found invaluable. Coming from, I didn't study film in college, I studied theater. So I went from a theater background to working in film, and so it kind of gave me that opportunity to figure out, like, how do things run on a set, because it's very different than a stage, basically. So yeah, I'm really trying to think what else I was in. I can't think of anything. But yeah, check out Looking and Jobs. Those two. Jobs was a very uncomfortable shoot because I was in shoes that didn't fit. And we also filmed in, I'm trying to remember what month. I think it was like springtime, but it was supposed to be January. So it was really warm out and the sun was beating down on us, but we had like layers and layers of clothes on. And it was so hot. And they just had us walking across this courtyard and then walking back and then walking across the courtyard and then walking back. But I will say, Danny Boyle was the director, and he was so nice. He was so nice, and he would go around to the background actors and like check on us, make sure we're all doing good. And there was a lot of us too, but he was constantly like, "You guys good? You guys good? You guys good?" Just a genuinely nice guy. So if you're familiar with Danny Boyle, he did Jobs. He did 28 Days Later. He did Slumdog Millionaire, Train Spotting. I'm trying to remember. He has a very like vast and varied resume. So he's a director, but yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to remember what else. Actually, a friend of mine that I went to college with was Michael Fassbender's stand-in. So in a lot of the shots where you see Steve Jobs or the actor Michael Fassbender from behind, that's actually my friend Adam. But yeah, I'll type up a list later. I'll just have to think of one. But all right, you guys. Oh, I made it for an extra 21 minutes today with my rambling. Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. This has been fun, and I feel like I needed this. I needed to vent about my foot, my damn foot, my situation, but I also just needed to have a little chat. I think this was great. This was a lot of fun. I needed it. My coffee is, I need to pee, is what I'm trying to say. My coffee's catching up to me and I need to pee. And it, on the crutches, it takes me a minute to get to the restroom. So I'm going to head out and handle my business. You guys, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for tuning in. So the next live stream will be May 16th, always on third Sunday of the month, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yeah, I'll be back next week. More videos, as always. Yes, everybody have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. I hope I have a speedy recovery. We'll see what happens. Just fingers crossed that I get into the orthopedist soon. Oh my goodness. But you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you all soon. All right, now we're gonna do that thing where I'm awkwardly close to the camera because I'm having trouble getting out of here. Bye, everybody.